Hi guys, I'm Justin Labato, President of the International Detailing Association, and I'm here with Renny Doyle here today, who's also a big name in the industry, as we all know, author of a book, How to Start a Home-Based Detailing Business, the detailer of Air Force One. And I say the because I capitalize on that because officially from the president, you got that letter.
Right.
Nobody else can use that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got that right.
And then he's been in the industry for 38 years. So he's a very well-seasoned veteran that has a lot of value he could bring to the table above and beyond what most people can say that they brought to this industry. And furthermore, he has some business tips that he'd like to go over with us. So, Renny?
Hey, thanks a lot. Appreciate the time, Justin. And I'm a big fan of yours. It's funny is that I don't say this lightly. Is that you came to me to be coached and mentor trained, and it's an honor now to be in a position to where I turn to you as mentorship and for input. And so I'm pretty proud of where you've come and where you've gone. And a lot of this that we're going to talk about today, you've done a great job at. So it's not going to be new topics to you, and to a lot of people, it's not going to be new topics at all. But we're going to put a fresh spin on it for some people that maybe can make you rethink some of the standard baselines of starting, owning, and running a successful business.
Yeah, and from going in as a student, being coached, looking up to somebody as a mentor in the industry at your level, you develop these relationships and you evolve into where it's a relationship that is a business relationship that becomes built into something bigger and grows into something bigger that unifies into the same vision.
It's an important factor. I mean, on the side, a lot of people don't know it. I've been doing a lot of keynote speaking and stuff like that. My buddy Bob Phillips that's here is a huge backer of both of us. We wouldn't be anywhere without Bob and P&S, and then Flex. Bob with Flex. I mean, they've helped us out a lot. But both those, they're a prime example of friendships that have taken careers different directions. And so, my years, 38 years in the industry, I've been doing, a lot of people don't know this, both the military and civilian side, is I do search and rescue. It's kind of a hobby. Some people play golf. I'm not very good at golf. I'm not very patient. I suck. I love golf, but I'm not very good at it. But search and rescue, and a lot of these principles coming out of going out, seeing people in life and death situations in the civilian world, the military world, and then bringing it back into business and using it as a businessman and actually as a family man. And so we're going to talk a lot about that. So thanks for the opportunity. Thank Autogeek. This is huge to be here.
Yeah, especially Autogeek. Thank Autogeek big time.
So let's jump into my number one. And these aren't really in any priority. So it's going to depend on where you're at within your business of what the priority is. Right now I can tell you that number 5 is really because of the amount of travel that Bob and I and Bob from Fly, we're all over the world. And so number 5 is build a life. That's in my number 1 position right now because I got to really balance things. Yeah. And balance is important. But you might be in a brand new development and number 4 might be number 1 for you. And so you're going to kind of have to adjust these as you go. But number 1 is you got to have a hyperactive marketing system in place. Now, you know what that is. We call it our sniper marketing program. You're starting to teach it now. Mm-hmm. And it's incredible, guys. And what it does is anybody that thinks, I'm 52 years old. A lot of people don't like age. I'm one of the weird guys that I like getting older. And the reason why is I never thought I'd make it this far. I never thought, A, where I grew up, I'd be alive. And then B, I just never thought I'd be in the position I am now of being able to take and mentor, teach, and coach people at success in life and their business. So you've got to have a system that's super active, that covers everything. First off, if you don't think social media is important, you're lying to yourself.
You're wrong, yeah.
You've got to have a website. So if you don't think you need a website anymore, you're wrong. You have to have really in my estimate, you have to have a blog. And then you've got to have a personal connection with the people in your market. And that's key, is keeping in contact. There's the average person, it takes 12 to 15 engagements to get them to take their money out of their pocket and give it to you. And so with that is if you don't have a hyperactive, which means hyperactive is we're small, a lot of times we're solopreneurs, meaning that we are a one-man shop operating and doing and changing hats constantly. You've got to be able to take and go hyperactive, hyper small, hyper effective, and hyper cheap marketing to take and get the job done. And if you don't do it on a daily basis and be able to take and prioritize that, you're never going to make it.
Yeah, and it's a snowball effect. You've got to start small,
That's it.
and then you work your way into bigger things. You take that profit margin and turn it back around into the bigger snowball.
That's
and
it.
that way your marketing becomes bigger. And like you said, we're in business to obviously get transactions, but overall the bigger value is the relationships we build. Because
Absolutely.
that right there, the return on
Absolutely.
investment is bigger than anything that the transaction can offer.
Well, we have a saying in search and rescue, definitely military, is the reason why that in the military we fight, or the reason on a mountain that we go and we're recovering some people. If I see you on the weekend, on my weekend job, it's probably the worst day of your life. I mean, honestly, your day's gone real bad. If I pop out of a helicopter and, hey, it's me, it's not a pleasant sight. Or you're real thankful I'm there. Usually you're really thankful, but your condition's not really
When
good.
you did that at my birthday party last year, I was stoked. I was just stoked.
Hey, it's me. But the thing is that the camaraderie and the value in relationships is huge.
Yes.
And we trust each other. The reason soldiers fight is because of the man and the woman next to them. And the reason search and rescue we go on is because, A, we want to take care of each other. Is we've been dropped off on a mountain. We want to make sure that none of your team, that we all go home. And then we want to find that lost person, that person that's injured, that's lost, that's missing, and take them back. And so is relationships is key in search and rescue, military, and really in business. It's key. It's key to it. So the second little tip I want to give you, and it's something that you got, you're a boxer, you grew up kind of like I did, is not the ideal growing up situation. The environment was a little rough, right? But the one thing that we couldn't afford, either one of us, was we couldn't give up.
Nope.
We failed. My failures, probably like your failures, have been the best learning lessons I have. I still fail because I take risk. If you're not taking risk, you're not moving ahead.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I see so many people doing in the detailing industry, and 400 plus, you're in our group. We've got 200, almost 300 people in our group that are active. The thing that's all too familiar to us is people give up too soon.
Yep.
They can be so close to success, yet they tire out, they get done, this business isn't for me. Well, if this one's not for you, probably nothing is. Is that just going over to another industry isn't going to make success any easier.
And that doesn't make you a serial entrepreneur either, just because you tried, failed.
No. A serial entrepreneur is success, either exit strategy or keep the company going as you're starting another business up.
And
so you're either going to sell the
revenue.
business. Yeah. It's not a habitual entrepreneur, to me, is not somebody that starts a business and then gives up and then starts another one. That's a failure. That's a habitual failure.
So you had mentioned about, the different failures and things of that nature, about how they are bad, but some failures are good. And you got to know the difference between the two. There's good failures where you learn from the failure, and then there's failures where you don't learn from it and you just kind of sweep it under the carpet and keep moving like it never happened. If you don't learn from it, you're not going to be successful.
In the military and search and rescue, we either call it an after-action report or a critique. And every time we go on a mission, every time we train, anytime we do anything, we are taking and we're judging ourselves on how we did. And in business, we need to take that same way. We need to take and bring it in, look at what we did right, look what we did wrong, all the way down to every single job that we do, every interaction. If you really want to take and learn something, really how you handle phone calls, record yourself with your phone.
Yeah.
Set up your iPad and record yourself. You should see, I had an old boss, guess what he used to tell me? Everybody should be able to see your smile and confidence through the phone. Now, I was a young guy, and I was like, what do you mean? But what he was dead right is that you've got to be able to fill your attitude online, social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and on the phone. If you're not getting the right attitude, and if you're thinking about quitting something, guess what it's going to do? It's going to come out in your attitude.
Yeah.
Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, you got to be positive. You got to be enthusiastic. They could tell in your voice, and it's like a comedian. They go to different cities, but it's the same act every time. You just got to fine tune that when you're on the phone, in front of them, whatever it may be.
And it's times that there's different shows that are that you perform better in Chicago than you did in Miami.
Everybody has an off day. We're human.
You do, and so. It's just coming down through and learning that, and you got to practice, and you never give up. I have taken in so many times in my own life. I'll tell you a funny story. Bob's here, somebody that means a great deal to me. When we introduced the double black line with P&S, I didn't want my name on it. And Bob's sitting back there smiling right now. Is that I did not want my name on it. I just didn't think that was needed. And now looking ahead, we had people push. I brought in an expert that I thought was going to side with me. Good friend of mine. He sided with Bob. They ganged up against me, and now it's the best, one of the best things that's ever happened in my life. professionally, is that it's taken me, the sense of pride of being just a regular detailer and seeing that. What if I would have given up? What if I would have said no? What if I wouldn't have pushed forward? None of the great things that's happened to me since then would have happened.
And the opportunities it's created for others.
Exactly. So it all comes down to that. Now, next 3 is developing your personal brand. Now, this is something that you've done a great job at. There's other people, especially within our group. The Detail Mafia is our guys. The only reason we're not better than anybody else.
No.
All we do is we hold each other accountable. So here's what the guys have done is we've taken, instead of hiding behind a business card with a name on it, is we've taught it the way that I came out, the way, if you ask Mike Phillips, we're in his garage right now, is the way that we came out and we became successful in our markets was not being me, you, Mike Phillips, or anybody else. We were uniquely us in our market. We didn't try to go nationally, internationally, statewide. We first started out and we became the guru of detailing within our local market. And you've got to develop a persona. You've got to develop all the way from the way you dress to the way you talk. I'm an educated guy. I'm the most simple-minded guy with a bachelor's degree you've ever met in your life. It only took me until I was 47 years old to get it. So I'm not a real fast learner. My point of saying this is I got my own unique way of talking. Is that it's from growing up the way I did. It's from flavoring the things in life I did, and then finally accepting who I am and who I'm not. And it's played well for me. So some people do real well talking sophisticated. I don't, but it's my own flavor and I developed it. I didn't imitate anybody else. I went out and watched people I admire. I take things when I'm with you, I'm with Bob, with William, with Bob, my wife, my kids, and I take little things they do and say, and I go, ooh, wow. And I blend that and I mold it into my own life.
Kind of sharpen your tongue and you wordsmith it.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. But you've got to develop a personal brand.
Yes.
You have to. Number 4 is what I call the Factor 25. Now you just mastered this, and I'm gonna come back and kind of interview you when we go through this. For my entire career, at the age of 27 or 28, is I did something remarkable. Is I paid all my debt off, including a house. Now it was a very modest house. It wasn't a fancy house, but it was a house, and it was where I wanted it. It was in the mountains. I live in the mountains of Southern California. But my point being, it was after what I've called the Factor 25. Is I've taken every dime that comes in to my business and taken 25% out and set it to the side. Now, there's times I go in and get 24.9% of that out to pay bills, but I put a little away, didn't I?
You had it there when you needed it.
I had it there when I needed it. And so I've taken and I feel there's times that I didn't and I regret those. It's something that I've taught, I've been able to take and mold and kind of help my wife along with. It's something that I've taught my kids. Is you've got to take, every time you get money, you put more away than you spend. You can always pull a little bit back out if you need it to pay your bills, but you know what? You need to be saving. You need to be putting money away. And in detailing, we're a blue-collar industry. When the economy rattles a little bit, it's really never rattled me. Even 2008, we came out of 2008 stronger at the end than we've ever been.
I started in 2008.
That's what I'm talking about right there. So now you're personal. You just did something for the first time. You made a big purchase last year. What'd you buy?
I bought a house.
Bought a house. How'd you buy that?
Cash.
And how'd you do it?
Detailing. So June 1st this year would be me completing 10 years in the industry.
Wow.
Day in, day out, going into my 11th year.
Wow.
And no other source of income. I have tried other ways of making money, multi-level marketing, things of that nature, but that wasn't for me. It wasn't a fit.
Added to your flair, though.
But it did. And, I learned a lot from it.
You did.
It wasn't a failure. It was just something that I saw wasn't a fit because I didn't like the aggressive marketing that had to be done to make money. I'm not that kind of person.
Right.
So overall, because of that and because of listening to great mentors and having direction and well-calculated decisions, it allowed me to start putting money away.
That's it.
It allowed me to also, because of going through training such as yours, to learn how to make more money to put away.
That's it.
And because of that, it allowed me to save and come to be able to afford a house. And not only that, but most people when they buy a house, they have the down payment, they have the costs that get involved here and there. I had revolving debt, so I had to come $30,000 out of pocket cash in 45 days.
Just to qualify.
Just to qualify. So that happened. We got it. And then, gosh, I'm looking at Not even a year later, maybe 9, 10 months later, I'm coming $30,000 cash out of my own pocket again to make an investment for a business. So that's $60,000 in a year that I comfortably came off of and still able to take off when I need to and pay my bills and still have money set aside.
That's it. And you know, it comes down to factor 25. Now, as you get older, or when you're younger and you don't have kids, that may be factor 50. But once you just did that too, you just had you've got a new baby.
Yep.
Is that all those things is Nike shoes? I have a saying, Nike shoes are expensive. And then lastly, the number 5 tip, and this is probably the most important, and people don't get this, especially blue collar people, is that you've got to build a life. Is while you're building your business, it's just important. Matter of fact, I realize now I had 10 years of struggles, and the 10 years of struggles were the only time period I let somebody that was really a nasty snake in life get into my head and poison the way I thought. Up until that point, I thought right. I did this. I take 5 steps ahead for my business. I take 5 steps ahead for my lifestyle. And then all of a sudden, this person came into my life, and I took 5 steps ahead for business, and I took 10 steps away from lifestyle. I actually decreased my lifestyle over years. Now, I finally woke up and I went, wait a minute, what am I doing? This isn't me. This isn't what I taught myself. This is what my mentors didn't teach me. Why did I let this one person affect? I let them in, not them. I did. But here's the deal, is that you've got to take and be happy in life. You've got to chase a life. When you become happy and people can truly see it, they can sense it, they can feel it. You know, I'm not an energy guru kind of guy, but you do. You put an energy out with people, and when they see that you're legitimately happy and you're legitimately just a cool person,
genuinely,
they want to take and they want to be around you and they want to give you money. I found out the more I balanced, the more I gave back to my community, the more I became involved in search and rescue in the military, the more I took and gave of others, the more I coached people, the happier I became, the more I put into my kids, the more I put into my wife, the less I put into me. And trying to build up my ego within business, the happier I became, which is another part of it, is that as you become, you're a young father with two kids, and one's a baby, is that you've got to make sure that everybody around you is happy. But you know what you need to make sure of? You need to make sure you're happy.
Absolutely.
It is okay to gift yourself time, going to the boxing gym, going to it might be a daily gym 4 or 5 times a week. But you got to keep your health up, you got to keep your fitness up, you got to keep your mind up. You can't party too hard. You can't leave all those bad habits behind.
You've got to be balanced.
In moderation. But you know what? You've got to build a life.
Yeah. And and as an entrepreneur, that's the thing. People don't get that. They think don't get me wrong, there's a huge hustle behind that. Hustle day in and day out, 24/7. I get it. But there's also a calculated kind of hustle that follows that. And if you do it correctly, you paint the picture to the world that you want. So that way, as a business owner, whether it's a detailer or whatever else it may be, at the end of the day, what you need to be is an entrepreneur that knows how to detail real well. Not a detailer that's trying to be an entrepreneur. Because then at that point, you're just a dog chasing its tail.
Justin, I'll leave you with this, is that if I'm a betting man, and if I took and had to bet on 2 different people, of a detailer, a talented detailer coming into the market, and somebody that was just unbelievable talent, but that's all they knew how to do, or you got somebody that's an entrepreneur that understands all of these things, how complex business can be, how to work relationships, and is a pretty skilled detailer, okay, but the other guy is much more skilled, I'm going to bet on the entrepreneur, because this isn't a hobby, this is a business. And if you don't know how to run a business, most artists are broke for a reason, is they're starving artists. And just like on artists, most detailers are starving. And the reason why is they put things backwards. They're a detailer first, then a business person. I'm going to challenge you right now, become a business person first, then a detailer.
Yeah, with that said, and that's one of the biggest things that struggles in our industry is people understanding financials. So thank you. I hope this helps everybody.
You got it, man.
And
my pleasure.
Of course, anytime, if you really want to engage us, get involved with the IDA, which is the International Detailing Association, or I'm sure you could find either Renny's email or my own email online, and give us a shout if you have any questions.